What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Welcome back into JC's Pop Culture, where you can see all kinds of pop culture content with me, JC, and continuing the October Horror Onslaught. We're going to wrap it up with Halloween 2018. Going to release this one on Halloween as well. Getting a chance to try and get it in as well, in addition to Halloween H2O. Should get both of those commentaries out today, which it's nice that we get to close the October Horror Onslaught with both of those coming out on Halloween, kind of fitting that it's the movie that came 20 years later and then the movie that came 40 years later that we're in the October Horror Onslaught commentary series here. We're going through some of the Halloween movies on JC's Pop Culture with Halloween 2018. And then, of course, like I said, in the future, we're going to go through all the franchise. We'll be able to have all the Halloween commentaries here on the channel. And I want to do a ranking at some point as well. But that's coming in the future. As for now, we're going to get into a commentary for 2018. I think it's maybe streaming on Peacock, or it was previously, if it's still up there. I don't know what it's up on. I didn't check that. I'm just tuned into the 4K, the Blu-ray here. So if you're doing that, go ahead and push play from the menu, because there's a piracy warning. And I think then like the rating, of course, from the MPAA, you got to get past. Then pause it right there at 000. We're going to get ready to get started. When I say "and here we go," that's when you want to push play on your movie if you want to sync up. And let's get ready to get into it. A commentary here for David Gordon Green's Halloween 2018, the start of a trilogy that we all thought was going to be super great after this movie, despite some things that are problematic in it, which we'll talk about when we go through. But then, of course, the trilogy kind of faltered. That's why we're only focused on this one in the commentary series, even though I am a fan of Halloween Kills more than most. But that's another discussion for another day. Let's watch Halloween 2018. I'll quit babbling so we can get into this shit. Let's do it, guys. All right, pause your stuff. Get it ready if you're ready, because I'm ready to dive into it. All right, and here we go. All right, I pushed play. You should be scrolling across the earth now and seeing the Universal letters coming across right there as well. And I'll let you guys know Universal is now stopped front and center in front of the earth. Comcast companies came up at the bottom, and that's where you should be at here if you're trying to sync up with me. If you're watching something different, I'm on the Blu-ray version here, the 4K version of Halloween 2018. Now we got the Miramax logo. All right, it's go time, guys. Let's get into this thing. Before we get into it, may as well go ahead and start it with this while we have the opening credits, because first of all, the opening credits, once we get into the Halloween side and through the production companies and stuff here, as Blumhouse's logo comes up, is awesome. Great callback to the original. That's when I knew I was going to like this movie from the jump. But from the jump here on this video on the YouTube side, or if you're listening to it on podcast platforms, appreciate that. But if you're on the video version here on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, give me a like, helps a shit ton with the YouTube algorithm. We can push this out for more Halloween fans to get this type of content here. I cover Halloween here on the channel on JC's Pop Culture, as well as other horror movies, comedy movies, superhero movies. So be sure to subscribe here if those are up your alley. Also cover the College Football 25 video game. So I wanted to get that out the way. But if you are listening on the audio side, you can find this on all podcast platforms. Just search JC's Pop Culture and you will find us. Be sure to just leave us a rating if you're listening on that side. That helps a lot, preferably a 5-star one. All right. Into the movie now, guys. We're seeing some shots of the patients. There's our first shot of Dr. Sartain. Polarizing damn character, to say the least, right? One of the most controversial aspects of this movie, I think, is Sartain. I think I get what they were going for. They were like, let's put a Loomis type character, but kind of have him be like the antithesis of Loomis, and him do things like the complete opposite way that Loomis would have, and be interested in complete opposite things and in it for different reasons. But then I think just in the execution, it didn't come off great, especially like when he put on the mask and shit. That's what it was for me. I mean, spoiler alert. I don't think you'd probably be listening to this, watching this with a commentary, if this is your first time seeing it. I'm sure you've probably seen this by now. I think that the statute of limitations is over on Halloween 2018. Like if you hadn't seen it already. But yeah, spoiler alert. There's a part in this movie where Sartain puts on the mask that's controversial, to say the least. The podcasters here, our introduction to them. What's his first name? Lamere? I mean, he's just Dr. Sartain. I couldn't even remember what his first name was. I want to see if it's on IMDb. Michael has been his life's obsession. Says he fought to be, in charge of Michael. No, it just says Dr. Sartain. I want to know what his first name is. Ranbir. 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 I thought he said Lemire. I'll do that at your own risk, podcaster man. This right here, this cold opening is pretty freaking sick, though. And then you go into the theme. Look, what's crazy is right there, that guy that they showed, Mr. Tivoli, that's who comes back in the next movie in Halloween Kills. That's the one that they, think is Michael Myers at one point. Which, if you watch the Halloween 4 commentary here, I found out that, like, that's kind of a callback to that if you think about it, because they didn't have a police force and they had an angry mob and accidentally killed somebody. And that's kind of the same thing that happened in Kills. I mean, they do have a police force, but they have an angry mob and they accidentally kill somebody that they think is Michael, just like they accidentally killed somebody they thought was Michael in Halloween 4. James Jude Courtney introduction. One of the best Michael Myers to me. I need to do that on the channel sometime as well, as rank all the Michael Myers. He's up there. Probably top 3, top 4, I'd say, off the top of my head. I'll tell you, one of the most underrated ones is the guy that did the flashbacks in Halloween Kills. Oh, man, you're getting close. Look how close he is to that yellow line, guys. If they were reviewing that for a catch in football, I don't know. His right toe might have been on the line. He may have been out of bounds. That's how close he is. Why did they keep his mask at the Attorney General's office, though, is my question. Like it's a historical fucking landmark or something. Oh. See, look, that's the guy. That's the guy that comes back in Halloween Kills. That's you come back and rewatch and you see some things. You're like, oh, okay. Look, you can just feel the intensity of the scene just rising, 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 and then comes to that climax, and boom, you hit the theme and hit the opening credits, which are so awesome in this movie. And that's when I was like, okay, let's get into it. Okay, I was like, oh shit, let's go. First time I saw this in theaters is great. This and Kills are, I mean, two of my favorite theater experiences. Definitely my two favorite Halloweens I've gotten to see in theaters. It's not a long list there, but right here, man. Oh, that theme kicks. You get the title drop. That's one of the best title drops in the franchise. And I love like the reinflating this pumpkin right here. Like, hey, the franchise is back and we're going back to like the 78 roots here. Look at these opening credits. It's just like the 78. We got the theme kicking in. Made you feel like, okay, they're gonna really do something. And where they went with the trilogy, I don't think it's where we all hoped it would go and where they all like kind of promised it would go. But this first movie overall really, nice touch, I think. I love all the callbacks. I love all the fan service that they provided to it in it. Especially I feel like it really was like an homage to people that really love that 78 version. Which they did even further. And one reason I'm a fan of Kills is the flashback in that. Like, what? That shit's perfect. That flashback's amazing. I know a lot of people hate the evil dies tonight or whatever stuff in Halloween Kills, but it never really messed with me that much. It didn't bump me. I guess I never really thought it was that annoying or that bad or anything. Personally, I really enjoyed Halloween Kills. But we'll talk about that one day when we do the commentary for it. Right now, talking about the return to this franchise in 2018. And it's good to compare it to. Like I said, I'm putting the Halloween H2O commentary up on the channel today. Happy Halloween, by the way, if you're watching this on the day of release. Coming out Halloween 2024, Halloween Day. little commentary here. We did H2O, and now we've got 2018 coming out. We've also done the greatest horror movie of all time, potentially, in my opinion. One of my favorite of all time films, Halloween 78, the original. We did a commentary for it, and we did one for Halloween 4, which I feel is underrated as well. So now diving into, directed by David Gordon Green there, as you see Haddonfield, Illinois on the screen, Halloween 2018. And you get the little comparison today on Halloween if you want to watch both and sit down and take in H2O and H40 essentially here, right? Halloween 2018. You can compare the two back to back. That's what I'm doing today on Halloween. A little back to back of Halloween H2O and Halloween 2018, something I've never done before. And I'm doing it with you guys here on the channel and uploading both of them on Halloween here as I do it on Halloween morning, and going to try and get them uploaded before I head to work for the evening. What would have been cool and like a good like viral marketing idea is like you have podcasts that you record as have this actor record in like the lead up to the movie, like their lead up to when they were going to meet Lori and stuff, and then any of the stuff from the movie, and you release those as actual podcasts. That'd be sweet. That'd be sick. They didn't let me do marketing. I don't know what made me think of that just now, but. And we got to get introduced to badass Laurie Strode. I just watched Laurie Strode be a badass at the end of H2O. And this movie right here, she's like next level, almost Sarah Connor type shit. Got a damn fortress at her place here. She's locked up like it's Fort Knox. And then we see her, out there firing guns. She's well trained in this one. I just think they neuter her character later in the franchise, unfortunately. Or not in the franchise, but in the trilogy, obviously. With kills and ends. Kills, she's pretty much completely out of play, and then in end, she comes back and she's like lucky, happy-go-lucky, baking cookies and shit. But I like her portrayal in this one. I really do. And of course, little did we know, a bit of foreshadowing here. Spoiler alert, yet again. Like I said, that's probably going to be happening all throughout this commentary. I've seen this, probably 20 times by now. I'm sure a lot of you have as well if you're Halloween fans. But they were foreshadowing just where the final act would take place there with those shots of the house and stuff, now that you think about it. And of course, why wouldn't it? I mean, you build up all this stuff about Lori and this fortress that she has and everything. It's gotta happen there. And of course, conveniently, it was almost a plan crafted by Lori. We come to find out that it happened there. She said, "I wasn't even letting y'all in except for the money." Award-winning public radio exposés. Like, show us those. Make up fictional characters to do the exposés on and put those in the podcast series in the promotion for this movie. I like that she had the long hair in this one, like in the original as well. That is one thing about this characterization I prefer over H2O, is that she kind of, has a similar look to what she did in 78. Got to call back to that in more ways than one. And that's what this movie does really well, is excellent callbacks to that movie. Really awesome. And they try and touch on the boogeyman theme in this movie as well. How well they execute it throughout, I don't know, but I like that they tried to delve into it here. Because, that was consistent throughout the original, the 78. See, they're also kind of a little bit of exposition here telling us that she's not his sister here, but then they hammer it home in the scene when the teens come in here in a bit as well. Could you have maybe cut 20 minutes out of this movie and cut the podcasters out? Yeah, maybe. But I think that they're a good plot device to kind of get us into it. That's how Michael gets his mask and all of that and everything. So you'd have to have it for that aspect. But I don't know. Because this movie's what, an hour and 45, hour and 42 minutes or something. So it's a little bit longer. But it also flows really well. It's not bad paced or anything. I really enjoy this. Don't get me wrong. This one's up there in the franchise ranking for me. I prefer it to H2O overall. I really do. Without the controversial Sartain stuff and everything, uh, this would probably be really, really close to the top of the, number one besides of the original. But because of some of the things, it maybe bumps it down. Like I said, I'm gonna do a ranking, but like if you want to see mine already, you can go to Letterboxd and check it out on the Letterboxd app, JC Cruz. She's like, why would I want to see him? Why would she want to see him? That's ridiculous. They just want it because it's provocative for their podcast and shit. She said, I'm good. I don't understand the hate for this character either. There's nothing wrong with having a little bit of comedy. You need a little comedic relief in the movie. Andy Matichak. She was great in these movies as well. Here comes the line, y'all. Everybody hates. It's hilarious. I don't know why everybody hates it. What's wrong with that? I got peanut butter on my penis. How can you hate on that? Gotta have some levity in these movies, man. There's plenty of comedy in the original Halloween. To me, it kind of makes me just think about the scene, Laurie, they're walking and they forgot their books, and she said, and who is it? The other chick, not Annie, but Linda. My mind was going blank there, but she said, and then have a place too. And then Lori says, shit. And she said, oh, I have a place for that. It's similar joke, to that really, just a little bit of levity in the scene in between in the movie, when you're introducing characters, just like they're doing here, introducing some characters. See, that's what I'm saying. Laurie in this movie was agoraphobic, right? Literally, they used to call it out for you there. And then all of a sudden, by the third one, it's like not even the same character anymore. All right, and here's where they really hammer home some exposition and stuff. Maybe some people are watching Halloween 2018, not knowing where it takes place in the franchise, not knowing what's happened before. We'll set it up for you. Is that a boba tea? See, here's where they're telling you, no, it's not her brother. I love Dave, man. Dave's a great character in this. That's something they did a good job with, is like the teens and young characters in this movie they did great with. Even the kid that she's babysitting later, Julian, that's great. Is it cool with you guys if I explode one of these pumpkins? All right, and then we get introduced here to Cameron, which good actor, but obviously a character that not a lot of people liked after this movie here. But really, I think he gets a chance to redeem his character a little bit in Halloween Kills. It's another reason I liked it, because it's almost like it addressed some of the complaints of the other movies without addressing those. If you saw me clicking off to the side here, I was actually hitting the upload button on the Halloween H2O commentary to put it up on the channel. Funny enough, so a little bit of like future interaction here in like real time, like some butterfly effect shit. The Halloween H2O commentary is going to be up on the channel first, so you can watch it first. This won't be up till later. But if you watch the Halloween 2018 commentary, you can see me hit the publish button on the YouTube channel on JC's Pop Culture for the H2O commentary. It's a mind fuck when you think about it. So it's like, is that past me and this is future me, and and now me is like to do the edit of that and put it up? I don't know. I'm just messing with you, man. Some looper shit. And another thing that both of those movies did, H2O, which I watched earlier today on Halloween, and now this one is a callback to the classroom scene. This one really like more blatantly, same like it's a red pen again, and they're talking about fate again. The other one was a little bit of an odd. This one's like more blatant, but it's funny that it's Laurie outside instead of Michael. Oh, she was giving her I'd never, but why have I never put two and two together that she's giving her all the money she got from the podcasters or most of it? Oh, why can't you? Yep, touching the boogeyman theme again. You think their football team's any good? Just trying to judge it by them practicing back there. Do they have a good football team at their high school there in Haddonfield? Or see their relationship here versus their relationship in End's completely different. And I guess you would come closer through, the trauma and tragedy, but like I just feel like it completely neutered her character and completely changed her after this movie. Like look at this Sarah Connor badass Terminator chick, man. You see Jamie Lee in this tank top out here cocking these guns and unloading and reloading them and all this shit and didn't think some Sarah Connor. That's what I had Sarah Connor vibes, man. She killed this role though. All right, so here's the voice actor in this one. We can compare this to the H2O one. I think this one's a little bit better. But this one I also understand more because they had to do it because this is new dialogue. If you think about it, maybe they knew right here that Sartain had weird plans because they said that Loomis right here wanted it to die, and then it didn't happen after Loomis was gone. I love that he called it "it" and said "it needs to die." But what I was saying was, I think that they actually, make sense that they got a voice actor for this one because that's new dialogue that they threw in for Loomis for this movie. H2O, they used old dialogue, but for some reason got a voice actor instead of just using the Donald Pleasance audio, which makes no sense. And if they don't stop transferring this motherfucker on Halloween Eve, she got airplane bottles on deck. And that's another thing I was talking about the H2O commentary because in the H2O, Laurie Strode has these visions of Michaels and she closes her eyes for like a few seconds and he goes away. And this movie kind of referenced that a little bit here when she's in this car at the transport and it looks like a silhouette's coming up to her and stuff. I think that's the only time we see it in this movie, but it's a little callback to it. They do nods to like a bunch of different movies throughout the David Gordon Green trilogy. Some good, some not so good, but this movie, I really love the things that they do, especially when they get to the showdown part with Laurie and Michael. We'll talk about that when we get there, obviously, but That's what really brought this movie home for me, despite some of the things throughout that look, see, look there, see the silhouette coming? Despite, like, some of the things in the movie throughout that kinda threw it off for me, and I was like, "Eh, hit or miss maybe." Neither here nor there, and then a few negatives. By the time we got to the end and the payoff was there and, got what I wanted, that's why I really, was like, "Okay, this is a really good Halloween movie, actually." I'll take this over the Rob Zombie remake for sure, personally, which I do like the r first Rob Zombie remake. Second one, it's down there with, Halloween 5, Resurrection, Halloween Ends now. Those are probably the bottom tier for me. Look at me spoiling my ranking. I said I'm gonna do a ranking video sometime, but hey, I guess that's the plus side. If you tune into the commentaries ahead of time, you'll have a little bit of a idea of where I'm going. If you go to the letterbox, you probably have an exact idea, but it may change a little bit now that I'm, been rewatching some of them and stuff. I have to revisit the ranking. Haven't went back to that since Halloween Ends, I don't think so. This crazy Lori shows up shook like this, but I mean, obviously she's going to. I mean, did they not realize that he was getting transported tonight or whatever? I mean, she may not have told him, but she comes here to be chugging drinks and shit. I'm the grandmother. Lonnie Elam's son. Lonnie Elam, Lonnie Elam. I never knew which one it was. I think it's pronounced different ways in both movies. I think in the original one they say Lonnie Elam. I thought that's how Laurie said it, but I'm not sure. Maybe it was Elam. That's what I like about this trilogy is they did go back and like touch on little details. Like they brought back Lonnie from the original, have his son in here. It was smart. Some of the ways they did a lot of these things. She's shook, dude. I mean, how can you blame her? She's got like PTSD for sure. She became agoraphobic. But then could you imagine being what's his name though? Especially like the first time you ever met this lady and you're like, what is she talking about? But I don't know. Does he know though as well? Because obviously it's the same town. They probably know about Michael Myers. It's probably lore, something that happened 40 years ago, but who knows how much that someone young like him has been told about it. I would think Lonnie told him though. Obviously, Lonnie came in contact with the shape as well. We find out in Halloween Kills. But like, if you didn't and you like really weren't aware of it much, you're probably just like, "What is this lady talking about?" I did feel bad for her a lot when I see this, man. You got to feel bad for her. She's been through it, but it's also what makes it so great that she's so awesome. This scene right here is one of my negatives from the movie. Like Judy Greer felt really robotic right here in this scene. For one, I think she was going for like a traumatic type thing, but it wasn't really coming through. She redeems her character a little bit in the next one as well. I get where they were going with this character, but I don't know, it just didn't really land for me that much. Of course, the flashback in that scene does end up coming into play in like the end with when she does have like the redeeming moment in this one as well at the end. So, I mean, I guess you had to have a little bit of that in there, but I don't know, just something about the characterization wasn't my favorite. Because I also think like, I mean, I get after something happens, it's probably going to change, Lori a little bit, but like what we know about her for sure, for one thing, she's really good with kids. And also she's like really good with Andy Matichak's character in this one. So it's like, would she be like that bad of a mom and like be so focused on building her house up that she neglects her kid and they get taken by social services? I don't know. Kid wants to be a dancer. Leave him alone, Dad. And see, do you see that, like, when they're pulling up with the headlights and the patients are just outside walking right there? That's obviously like a little bit of a callback to 78 as well. When Loomis and the nurse pull up in there and the patients are just roaming loose. Because she's like, do they just let them walk around like that? And I think at this part right here in the movie is when we all learned, oh, okay, this movie's about some shit and you don't know what the hell they're going to do. Because other times, and yeah, because I just watched H2O, he steals that car in the bathroom. There's a kid there, he leaves him alone. This one, you're probably thinking, oh, he might kill the other people, kill the dad, but this little kid's going to be all right. Nope, this movie's like, we're about to show you some shit in this movie. Michael Myers is about to be free. Michael Audrey Myers. Yeah, I think he goes onto the bus, right? I just want to know, like, why would you stop, though? Would be my question. Like, okay, make sure you don't hit the people that are walking and then get the hell through there. And so, like, originally when I first saw this, another spoiler alert, obviously, I was like, oh, damn, Michael really broke out and, like, murked everybody. And, like, in a way he did, but also then to find out Sartain kind of directed it, kind of like, I was like, oh, man, it's not as cool as Michael just doing it on his own, really. I mean, I get they kind of have to have that angle just for an explanation, but in the past they did. It's just like, Michael, hey, Michael breaks out, man. He'll fucking stick his thumb through a guy's forehead like he did in Halloween 4. It doesn't matter. Just Michael's got to get free so we can have the movie. I like how he's like, run, get the hell out of here. Daddy. I say I'm surprised they do like they could have just had Michael just take the car while they were out of it as well. But no, they're like, no, we're going extra mile. Sartain. But why would Sartain just chilling on the bus as well after he orchestrated everything? Was he just shocked? I don't know. It's weird. He was like, damn, I didn't think he was gonna do all that. Or was he like horny for it? It's hard to tell. Yeah, this is where the movie shows you, hey, we're not fucking around. I'm gonna mark this kid. We marked a child. And I was like, God, they're fucking going there. Back to the Future pinball machine. Hell yeah. It's my density to play that. Destiny. They said you ain't ever gonna beat him. I love the idea that he just sits and plays like the video game. I mean, the pinball machine when he's like waiting on calls and shit. Just hangs out in this local gas station. He's one of the best parts of this, these couple movies for sure. Sheriff Hawkins. This is what he did after he got done coaching that team with Denzel Washington. I remember the Titans. He finds Dr. Sartain. That's right. I remember the cut scenes now in the blooper reel, whatever the hell you outtakes, I guess they call them. Sartain's like picking his nose and shit in the outtakes. He's like, I'm not picking my nose, I'm scratching my brain. Man, that's good stuff there. I've been shot. How do I know he's gonna say that? Oh, probably because I've seen this a lot. But what's crazy is you find out, how much when Sheriff Hawkins heard who it was, knew already because what we find out in Halloween Kills. Love those flashback scenes with the young Hawkins. Here's a throwback to the um, graveyard scene that we've gotten, in 78, in Rob Zombies. In this one, you're doing a reboot. You got to do it. I forgot that they interstitialed some shots from 78 there. No insert shots of 78. It's a nice touch. Do you think that he heard them talking about this and that's why he was like, I'm going to murder them? I mean, he probably already kind of felt like that once he knew they had the mask and he was like, I got to find those people. But then, especially after this, he was like, they're talking about me. Look at him over there. He's the sheriff. The sheriff from Illinois looked like he's from Texas. I do like this, the way this actor plays the sheriff, though. He said, I'm trying to get the whole story. They got it right. Michael A. Myers. We all remember the era from Halloween 4 where it said Michael M. Myers, and we're all like, his name's Audrey. It's in the Halloween 1 TV cut. That's what are we gonna do? Cancel Halloween? That didn't age well. That didn't age well, Sheriff. Was that Michael when he was a little kid? Just like had him facing a wall. When you take a picture of your back, son, turn around. We're gonna put it in the file. Obviously, the bathroom scene, fucking dope. But the best shot probably in this movie. There's some scenes I may like more, but one of the most memorable is when he gets his mask finally in that trunk get it, and they got the camera kind of angled up towards him and the way the light's hitting him and he's putting on his mask finally, and you get to see that 2018 mask in all its glory that Chris Nelson and company made. Freaking fantastic. One of my favorite masks. They got it back there in the background for a reason. Those are probably, maybe I'll do a mask ranking one day, but those are probably my top three, I'd say. I think kills and ends, obviously, just different kind of variations of that one, which I prefer this 2018 one the best. But those three right there are up there. The Rob Zombie one in Halloween, the Halloween one wasn't bad either. It's up there for me probably as well. But I liked Halloween 6 mask. I love the OGs is my favorite, obviously. But then 2018 really good. That's why those are the three masks that I have. They're just Tots masks, by the way. Nothing special. Oh, man. Can you imagine, like, getting murdered while you were just trying to let out a fat turd too? Like, she's just trying to take a shit? I don't know if she was or not. I just assumed so. I just assumed that's when it would happen. You Taco Bell last night, stomach's in knots, and then you got a murderer coming in on you, dropping teeth over the fucking stall door and shit. What if he just knocked on the door like, "Hey, I think I left my keys in there?" That happened to me once. I was young. We were at an IHOP. I had, like, the Hershey Squirts, unfortunately, like, it was a bad morning for me, and, like, some guy kept knocking on the bathroom door saying, like, guy in the handicap, are my keys in there?" And I was so young at that point, I didn't know that that's what the bigger stall was called, was the handicap stall, so for a while, I didn't realize he was talking to me or he was knocking on my stall, so, like, for 5 minutes, this guy was banging just asking that, and I wasn't, like, saying shit, and then I was like, "Oh, no, no, your keys aren't in here." Yeah, and it was awful morning all around because this guy was looking for his keys. I didn't know it was called the handicap stall. That was kind of embarrassing. I made this guy sit there and ask for 5 minutes, and then I was having stomach issues. So it was a bad morning as a kid. I didn't get to enjoy IHOP either. And you always want to enjoy the IHOP. That guy enjoyed too much IHOP. That's why his mouth was like that. And then we see the guy on the ground without his clothes on. Obviously, that's where Michael got his jumpsuit because probably a lot of people were wondering in that scene when he came to the bathroom, how the fuck does he have a jumpsuit already? Well, this is how he got it from these mechanics right here beside this bathroom that she's in. And now we see what happened to the guy with his mouth open. As we see, I wish they wouldn't have gave that away in the trailer. I mean, it is a like dope little teaser for the trailer to be like, holy shit, those are teeth. But like that would have been such a good surprise in here. And these are probably the best kills in the movie, I'd say. Just the brutality of it. And then Halloween Kills really takes to a next level with the brutality in some of the kills. That's one reason it's up on my list as well, is the way that they handle Michael and the way that they do things in Halloween Kills. I like a lot, especially the throwback scenes to 78. Flashbacks are great, but a lot of the kills are amazing. And this is one of the ones that's up here in 2018. Good guys, like I'm coming to help. Bro, when you saw it was Michael, you should have just literally like tried to stab him with the end of that because that would hurt him more than like hitting him in the head, and then just try and get her and run as fast as you can because hitting him's not going to do shit with it. And now you're just going to get your head bashed in quite literally, which is absolutely terrifying because she has to watch it. That's what's so crazy about this if you think about it, what makes it all even like 100% worse. The brutality of it, one thing, but she has to essentially watch it happen to him, and then he's like been beat up, like knocked out because his head's been beat in so much, but he has to watch her get killed as well and just can't do anything about it because look at his freaking head. And a good job here of not showing his face because, like, obviously we don't want to see his face, but showing us how he doesn't have his mask yet. So then, like, I have a big, like, nice reveal right here. Here's one of the best shots of the movie, maybe the best, arguably. The reveal of the mask. And then, boom, it's on. Well, there's one thing this movie and the Rob Zombie reboot have in common is that that's supposed to be the same mask, but just aged. And both of them did a great job of it. You can argue which one's better. I prefer this one. The 2018 mask is something serious. Love that shot there through the trunk. Oh no. This is when it's on the news. This is when it's real. And Lori says, oh shit, it's happening. She's like Michael Scott in The Office right now. Oh my God, it's happening. Okay, it's happening. She's like, I've been preparing for this for 40 fucking years and it's go time. Let's get into the mix. When I first saw this, I was like, damn, that's dope. How much does that cost to get installed at your house? Because I mean, hurricane comes through, you have that. That's nice. Also, like it's a panic room type situation. Is that a Mini Cooper? You got the Mini Cooper? The Mini Cooper? God, what is her character's name? I done forgot. Lori's daughter. Is her name like Pam or something? The fuck is her name? Karen? Is her name Karen? I think it's Karen. Judy Greer, obviously, is like what I see, but I can't ever remember the character's name. She's obviously not one of the more memorable ones for me from his trilogy. No offense to Judy Greer. She's been great in a lot of things. But Allison and, of course, Lori, Lonnie, Cameron, some of the other characters stand out to me more. Yeah, Karen. Okay. I was right. It just took me a second to get there. Sometimes you have those little brain farts and shit where you forget shit for a second. Why did she break into her house just to show her that she could have murdered her? That's like the Lori we get in this one as compared to the one that it becomes. Like, damn, Lori, you really about that shit. He said, "I know jujitsu." Yeah, y'all about to find out the bus crashed. I'm trying to tell y'all. I mean, yeah, it can be full of that, but Michael Myers is going to come out. They don't even have a gun. I find that hard to believe. But also with the traumatic shit she described from her childhood, maybe she wouldn't want one. This is when it's real. Sheriff Hawkins. I mean, he already knew when he found out Michael Myers was out, but now he's like, "Yep, it's happening." And once he sees Lori, he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna have to tell her." I do like their little like rom com type relationship throughout this David Gordon Green trilogy. So I don't know if they were planning on like going back to show that in the flashback or not, but they did foreshadow it right there. You know, I was there that night. And then we get to see that in Halloween Kills. Get to see the scene when he was there, which is pretty sweet. So I do think that this movie does a good job of establishing like a really good Halloween atmosphere. One of the best in the franchise. It feels like fall. It feels like Halloween. You see the trick or treaters going around, all that stuff. That's always like great. And now Michael has his mask and like bumping into people. And here it is. Great shot here. The one shot tracking shot, probably the best sequence of the movie here, in my opinion. So well done, like the callback to the Elrod scene in Halloween 2, but also the way that it's shot with the tracking, a bit of a callback to the opening of 78 as well. Could see him walk all the way around the house and then come in just like he did in 78. And then also she's like making sandwiches like the Elrod scene in Halloween 2, which is pretty sweet. So it's like it's almost shows you like a different like universe, like butterfly effect type shit, where it's like a different timeline, right? Because in this one, Halloween 2 didn't happen, but it's almost like the same things happen just in different ways in the different universe. And now he's taking this sandwich that's got ham juice on it. So like he's not only like stabbing people, he's also like spreading diseases of like dirty ass pork meat. And this was what was interesting here is when they showed that and heard that baby crying, it really made you tense up the first time you saw this movie because you already saw they done killed a kid early in this movie. So you're like, oh shit, no, 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 they're not going to kill a baby. But it made you think about it. It made you think about it. Michael didn't go through with it. He's like, it's just a baby. It means nothing. I need to go. Good theme. The score in this one, incredible. Definitely, absolutely shits on the score from H2O if you're comparing the two. John Carpenter gets to come back and do the score along with Cody Carpenter, and that gives this movie a huge bump, man. It really does. And it's really cool when you go back and rewatch these movies, though, because those two characters come back in Halloween Kills as well. These two right here, they're just in this for a brief second. Yeah, this score is up there with, the best scores of the franchise, to be honest with you. Like look at the set deck for the fall, all the jack-o'-lanterns and such. They did a great job, man. Great fall atmosphere in this movie. Gotta tip your cap to that as well. So this movie does a lot of things good. Look at that stinger, that classic John Carpenter stinger from the original right there as his mask is shown in the reflection of the window. Awesome. And look at this. You can just see I like how they just let the camera linger here, right here in this shot. It's really a good a cool choice, and an interesting choice because you get to just see the shadow of Michael Myers come around through the windows there. So it's like, he's probably coming in here through the back door. And then you see her come to the window to close it after she heard about the shit. And he's already in the house at that point. And then you get to see the kill from the same perspective here, which is a brutal kill right there as well. Another one of the great kills in this one. But the way that they shot it, I really like. The camera never moves from that spot once it sets there. It sees her in the window talking on the phone. Then you just see what happens. I like that. Interesting choice. Great work. A lot of cool choices throughout this movie. Like I said, underrated in my opinion. I think Halloween 2018 is because it does have some problems. It does have some issues, with the Sartain angle and some of that stuff, which we'll talk about when we get to. But overall, man, I really do enjoy this, and it moves quick as well. Already getting, into the later half of the second act. You're about to dive into our third act here in the next, 15, 20 minutes. So, well paced for a while, I think. And you love the fact that, they're high school friends babysitting, kind of the callback to 78 there. And the kid that she's babysitting here, Julian, one of the best characters in the whole David Gordon Green trilogy. The kid is fucking great, man. Vicky, yeah, that's right. That's her name. Couldn't remember it there for a second. Vicky and Dave are Vicky and her. He 100% knows what she's talking about when she gets off. That's hilarious. Like, know you're talking about smoking weed, right? He said that Alakazam. I'm not dumb. I know you're talking about smoking weed. He's like, all right, you got me there. You got me there. Clip my nasty ass toenails. How much do you get paid? He said. Not enough, I'm sure. Not enough. And this is the other thing that I really wish they wouldn't have spoiled in the trailer. This is the thing that I most wish they wouldn't have spoiled in the trailer. And honestly, I hate to say it, but Universal Blumhouse, they tend to do that with their movies. They give a lot of the plot away in the trailer and some of the most best parts of the movie. Like, can you imagine if the closet scene from that we'll see here in a bit in this house wasn't in the trailer? How crazy that would have been going in the theater and like not knowing that that's coming. That would have been a great scare right there. Cool little nightlight. Cool little nightlight you got there, guy. Look at this. Pulp Fiction. Not. It's a crazy Happy Death Day face. Like how they just got flasks. Dude, I don't know. I don't know anyone that brought a flask to a high school dance, to be honest. People would like drink afterwards and shit, but I don't think anyone ever really risked bringing it in. Football games, we would do that now. We'd put alcohol in like a McDonald's sweet tea cups, and then they ended up banning those after they caught on to it. Damn, man. What a dirty dog, man. No wonder people hated him in this movie. They like his character sucks because dude's just like out kissing another chick once his girl's gone for a second. Is he drunk? Maybe. Is that an excuse? No. Like I said, he gets to redeem his character in Halloween Kills, and also maybe gets the justice that you feel like he deserves after this movie in Halloween Kills as well. They took it to the next level for sure. She was talking to me. She whispered in my ear, like, dude, she can fucking see. She has eyes, bro. I got me fucked up. I hate how like he gets mad here and reacts. And this is, like, what really did it over the top for me is like, dude, you're the one that fucked up, and, like, then you take her phone and throw it in the fucking pudding or whatever the fuck that is. I can't remember what she said. It was Andy Matichak did an interview or a couple interviews with the We Watch the Movie guys. Best channel to follow on YouTube if you're a fan of movies. Besides JC's Pop Culture here, of course. Just kidding. I pale in comparison to those guys, but they're awesome. I love Mike and Jay to death, man. But they did an interview with her, and I think she talked about what that actually was in the bowl. I think it's like nacho cheese or something. I can't remember. Does she have a police scanner, or are we just hearing that? I guess we're supposed to believe she has a police scanner, I think. Oh shit, close up on the knife. Of course, she just happens to be washing the knife on Halloween night to where it's sitting out right there. Just the way the cookie crumbles. Dude, good. Oh, that almost made me jump for a second, even though I knew Dave was coming over at some point, because I couldn't remember if Michael popped up there or not for a second. I hadn't watched this since like last year, I don't think. I think I watched it again last year. I'm pretty sure I watched it almost every year since it came out, and then first year it came out, I watched it several times, multiple times in theaters and several times afterwards. Dude, and this is a crazy touch, like, that's really, almost, like, depressing, because it's like he, has the tattoo of his death date on his arm. Fucking wild. That's kinda dark. She said, "You're so gonna get dry fucked tonight." Alright. Julian, this is hilarious. "Yeah, Dave. I'm trying to tell you that Michael Myers is in the crib, bro." Said Dave first. He said, "Hell no, I ain't going up there." I like how smart he is though. Like he's like, I ain't dying tonight. This little kid's like, if anything, I'm surviving, bro. He said, I saw something in there. I ain't going back in there. If anything pops off, I'm running straight out the door. And that's exactly what he does. And that's why he survives this trilogy. He survives this movie. Don't mess with the kid like that. That's why Michael ended up being in there. That's karma. That's karma for messing with the kid right there. He said, you fucking kidding me? She didn't check the closet yet. This is so like weird to me because I've never, even if like I knew the people that owned it wasn't there, I've never seen a motorcycle or bike in my life and been like, I'm gonna start this thing and I'm gonna rev it up out here. Also, like, do they just leave the keys in it? How's that work? Just smoking a joint and like, you know what? I'm gonna freaking start this motorcycle. That's what I'm gonna do. Sick. I do like Dave though, man. But here's what I hate is I hate how she said like, I mean, obviously you as a babysitter, as an adult, real life scenario, not expecting anything to be there. So you're probably just gonna like walk around for a second, tell the kid you checked the room. But she didn't actually check the closet, man. She didn't actually do it. Like, I'd have been like shocked if he like burned his leg. Dude, how are you gonna drop it? Why would you even take it off the kickstand? Like, you can do what you did with it, like just sitting there. Like, obviously, you didn't check the closet because here we go. Oh, damn, something's blocking it. What could it be? Oh, fuck, it's a man. I like how this meant that for like, what, a half hour at least, Michael was just in the closet, just like, they'll come here eventually. I don't want the kid. I want the babysitters. Dave said, "What the fuck? Is she screaming?" I'll go get help. That's all you can do, kid. I mean, what you gonna do at that point as a child? And he tried to tell you, Dave, don't go up there or else you'll die. Oh, the fingers on the wood floor. I don't fucking like that. And then Dave going up here to try and save the day. It's already too late, Dave. Should have ran out with Julian. Oh, she does have a police scanner. They showed it right there on her dash that time. Which makes sense. Obviously, she would have one. More trick-or-treaters. More Halloween atmosphere. He's not Sheriff Hawkins, though, is he? He's Deputy Hawkins? Because the other guy's the sheriff, right? So he's just like a deputy. I don't know why they didn't just make him the sheriff, though. Because the other guy is barely featured, not that much in the 3 movies. I guess maybe they were trying to go for, like, the fact that what he experienced in the original and then, like, yeah, obviously the cover-up that comes that we found out about in Halloween Kills, maybe that allowed him to never reach sheriff. Stunted his career is what they're trying to say. I don't know. But I would have just made him the sheriff. And if so, you got probably the best sheriff in the franchise. Because Will Patton's so awesome. Officer Hawkins. Oh, they got that Peter Pan peanut butter right there on the counter. Do they just rent out people's houses to use for these sets, I'm guessing? You would think they have to. I mean, they have this whole neighborhood, but to go inside like the actual houses, I'm sure they have to like pay people, like put them up somewhere and then like rent out their house for a couple of weeks or however long they're going to be shooting in it. Okay. And this is where we also, here coming up in a second, get Nick Castle's cameo. I know a lot of the lead up to the movie, a lot of people thought Nick Castle was going to play like a big part and play Michael Myers like in this movie again. And he just does a little cameo for a second. It was James Jude Courtney pretty much the whole time, other than that. Nick Castle didn't feel like he could do it. They did go to him first, but James Jude Courtney, great job. And I love how they have like the passing the baton scene in here in between the two. And with the white sheet, obviously good callback there to the original, did make me think this was going to be Michael. Here it is. Watch it coming up. Wait for it. She scanned the windows. Boom. That's Nick Castle. Nick Castle is Michael Myers there in this scene here, doing the classic head tilt. And then once she shoots it and it shows it right there, that's James Jude Courtney. So that's what Nick Castle said. It felt like his like passing the baton moment. And obviously he has a cameo in Kills as the like streaker guy, but he's just, kind of himself in that one, not playing version of Michael Myers. But that was his passing the baton because first part of the shot before she shoots the gun is Nick Castle, and then afterwards it's James Jude Courtney. And there's the homage to one of the best kills in the franchise, the Bob kill. They kind of do that with the pinning to the wall, but he's with his like facing the wall and his neck turned all sideways and shit. And there's of course the tattoo they talked about. How about Lori? Good shot. Shot him right in the damn shoulder. I forgot that she shot him in this shit. Damn. You're lucky she didn't shoot you. Why would you sneak up behind her? Yeah, he knows, obviously. He knows he's here. I like how they don't fuck around though. Like they send a bunch of police, they get everything ready because they know what happened 40 years ago. And like, Sheriff Hawkins was there, he was involved with that and everything. And so this town kind of knows more so now. But the shit still goes down sideways for reasons. And of course, he comes out of his coma at the perfect time. This chuckle fuck, this chuckle fuck Dr. Sartain. That's what I call Sartain is the chuckle fuck. And I do, like the way that they kind of set it up, like, oh, this is going to be the new Loomis. And even Lori even calls it out in case you weren't getting it. But then they send us for a loop. And I think that's what they were going for, was what they go for here in a bit with the twist. But man, I just did not like it. Didn't play well for me. Didn't play well for a lot of people. And I think without that, take that out of the movie, that little part, movie's a lot better. And you're talking about one of the best Halloween movies, period. Because it's still, like I said, still would be up there in my ranking. But just that's one of the main things that sets it back. And right here you get the meeting of Lori and Sartain, the chuckle fuck. The new Loomis. They really need that line in there though. Like I feel like we got that already. A little heavy-handed. See, I think that he right there, when he heard him say that, he was already kind of suspect of him right now at this moment. Like, how did he knew that? Like he studied that this much? It's like, that's almost like borderline obsessive. And he was starting to ask him questions in his head right there. I think that's why they showed us that shot of Hawkins. Oscar, and then Oscar fucks up here because he's drunk as well. That's his excuse, anyways. Oh, how sweet of you, Oscar. But I guess right there he was kind of laying it out how he felt about her. So maybe we should have seen it coming a little bit. But it also seemed like he's just like being a nice guy and then tries to make a move on her, kind of like an asshole. It's this scene where the outtakes are in with these two, and he's like picking his nose and shit. They probably filmed a lot of like improv dialogue and shit in this scene, like, and they just had a bunch of takes to go with. Because when you watch the outtakes, you see this, but with a lot of funny shit thrown in. The effect on the victimizer. See, this kind of tells us that he's more interested in Michael and how killing affects him and how everything has affected him, and he also wants to see it happen and see how it affects him as well. Like he's wanting to study Michael out in the wild. When you rewatch this, you literally see him lay it out for you right there. I want to see that. He said, "I want to see what pleasure he gets out of killing," right there, and he doesn't even want him to be killed. What a crazy man. The anti-Loomis, this chuckle fuck Sartain. I like it, like how she was wearing the Christmas sweater in this, and everybody was like, "Why was she wearing a Christmas sweater?" It's like because she protest of Halloween, pretty much. It made sense in my head. I kind of got what they were going for. She tried to tell him. Yeah, you know, I got a fortress. Make your way to the fortress. Call back to 78. That's what she told the kids. Do as I say now. Good callback line there. Oh, I got to sit back in the chair a little bit. Hopefully, I'm talking loud enough. The mic's still picking me up good from here. Leaning forward into the mic, my neck and back hurt a little bit. I need to extend the mic out. But you know what? It's all good. Because I know a lot of times when I'm streaming, playing the college football 25 game, I lean forward a lot when I play the game, as a lot of people do. And there's where he becomes an asshole going for the kiss. So that's why I gotta have it there. Just have it closer, and then I'll lean forward and be super loud when I play college football 25. But see, Oscar also like sealed his own death warrant right there, because when he kissed her, he left himself alone, like a jackass. But the motion lights were a good touch, something that had never been really utilized in the franchise before, and it's pretty awesome. He said their beautiful bodies got me all chubbed out, Allison. They're feeding me in all these sexy ways. Trying to make every excuse in the book. I feel you, man, but you fucked up at that point. At that point, your best thing would be like just to try and like run off and follow her, so at least like you're not left sitting there by yourself. They even call back the name there, Elrod. It's Mr. Elrod. And he thinks it's Mr. Elrod. But why would Mr. Elrod just be standing out in the middle of his yard behind a tree at fucking, what, 9, 10 p.m. at night? At least. I like that line. You ever want a girl and just couldn't have her, because it's almost like a reference to him chasing Lori. Boom. There goes the motion lights. Fucking lights out meets Halloween. But at that point, I would have just jetted for that fucking fence. I might have just ran so fast that I could just run through the wood part of the fence and not need to try and climb over the fucking iron part and shit. Bro, you serious right now? Like, you see a man in a mask like that, you're like, get the fuck out of here. Halloween or not. Yep, you ain't gonna make it, son. This is a dope part of the score right here, too. I think this one's the Shape Hunts Allison. I think that's what it's called, right? If I'm not mistaken. Great part of the score right here from John Carpenter. Hear that kicking in? Very unfortunate. Especially then, because remember that kid's mom has to see him at the hospital, which really, I mean, that's another issue in Halloween Kills. Like, they're just going to have the dead body just sitting out where anybody walking by could see it. I highly doubt that, but you never know. They probably had a lot on their hands at that point. It's like, here, I stuck him through the fence just for one of my art projects, because that's what I do. I'm the shape. I do art projects. And she's like, what the fuck? Do you think that she knew that was Michael Myers? Or, I mean, obviously she was just scared because she sees her friend dead and sees somebody pop out. That's obviously the guy that did it. But I wonder if she knew what Michael looked like. I wonder if she'd been informed that by her grandma ever. But I also love this scene. First of all, the score, awesome right here at this part. If you ever listen to this by itself, it's fucking great. I like to listen to it when I write and stuff sometimes. But nonetheless, like, this scene right here really calls back to the original Halloween when Laurie was running, trying to get into the door. She goes up to people's porch and then they don't let her in and stuff. There's Chris Nelson, the man that made the mask in Halloween 2018 there, that Karen is talking to and being a Karen, yelling at the great Chris Nelson. Which those cops have a little funny back and forth here coming up in the movie in a few. As we get set to move into our third act now here. The third act of Halloween 2018, where shit gets wild. Obviously, we still got the Sartain twist about to come up here in a few, but then after that, man, the showdown. Gotta love the showdown in this movie, the Michael and Laurie showdown that we deserved. You know, we got it in 2018. They set it up like we were going to even greater when Halloween ends, which is one reason some people were pissed off because we didn't get it. But in 2018, we get it, man. The showdown that we deserve. I think it tops H2O, which I've watched for October Horror Onslaught this month on the channel as well. But I love the close of this movie, especially because all the cool callbacks to Halloween 1, man, it really takes it over the top for me. I loved that shit. One of my favorite movies I've ever watched in theater. This and both Halloween Kills are both up high on that list. But man, just seeing this, it only being like I think the third Halloween movie I've ever gotten to see in theaters and getting to have the experience that a lot of people probably had when they watched 78, because to me it was such a great movie that paid homage to that with the opening credits and all the great callbacks and everything. Dude, I was through the moon. I was through the moon for this movie. And then afterwards, of course, I started recognizing some of the problems. And of course, I already had issue with the Sartain stuff coming out of the movie, but it's still one that I really enjoy and is up there in the franchise ranking. And that's where you find out in the bunker. It's like she be canning shit. She got food and she got damn, woo, about 20 guns, man. She got a, look at that, what's it called? Crossbow. She got a crossbow down there. Like, why not? And you see the KS, obviously, you know, that was Karen's gun when she was little. Great trailer moment. I believe that was in the trailer. He's waiting for me. I've waited for him. Then we get the score kicking in. All right, we're coming up on it, guys. Coming up on the most controversial, provocative moment of this movie. You know, I think it's majority probably hate it, but here it is. He says, "Fuck this! I'm taking this dude out right now. Watch out! Watch out! We're coming for you." Throwback to Halloween 4 when they smashed you with the truck, and maybe a little H2O as well when she hit you with the little van. Oh yeah, shoot him immediately, dude. You should have immediately like locked the door, locked him in the car, and then got out firing before he could come out. And here it comes. I'm still gonna blow this motherfucker's brains out. Love that line, but here we go. When we saw that, we said, "What the fuck?" And we thought they also killed off Will Patton. So glad they moved away from that decision to open Halloween Kills, because you know, for a long time till Halloween Kills came out in the years following this movie, we all thought, "Oh man, they killed off Officer Hawkins. He was one of the best parts of the movie." Will Patton was so good in the Halloween franchise, and he fit so well. But I think even the people that made the movie and stuff recognize that as well. Like, we got to make him survive this somehow. But there, obviously, part of the twist is one thing, but to me, what really did it for me is this right here. Like, why the fuck does he take his mask off and put it on? That's what made me absolutely hate it. If he'd have just like killed Hawkins and then like woken Michael up right there and like got like, okay, go do your shit or something, I might have liked it better. But the fact that he puts his mask on and then puts him in the car and shit, I'm like, why do you need to have him put his mask on? What's the fucking purpose of that? Also, that's probably like one reason he gets marked. Like, you don't wear my fucking mask. Because also at this point in the theater, you were thinking, is Michael dead and is he about to try and become Michael? And you were like, please no, please no. So it just wasn't a good decision overall. But I do like the fact that when they put him back in the car here, that talking about Lori, I think, or maybe he's talking about Judith, actually. I can't remember which one it is. About to find out here in just a few seconds, is what kind of wakes him back up. He said, make room for my patient. Shut the fuck up, you chuckle fuck, Sartain. Freaking menace to society, Sartain. So yeah, like, what was the purpose of him putting the mask on at all? Just to, put him in there for the car and then throw the mask in there. Like, why would he even take it off? What's the purpose of that shit? See, wants to observe. But I understand The one part about the Sartain thing that I don't think you could take out of this movie and that they needed to have was that Sartain is the vehicle to reunite Laurie and Michael together because he's the one that wanted to see that shit. Without that, who knows if it happens without Sartain. That's what brings them together because they're not brother sister. He's not after her anymore. He's just like kind of on the loose. But Sartain to them was the way to be like, okay, we can set this guy up as like Loomis, but really he's anti-Loomis, and obviously that'll be the twist. But also he's our vehicle to reunite Laurie and Michael. So we do need him for that, but I think you could have just toyed with it a little bit in the way that you make that happen. And obviously, I think not have him wear the mask would be one of my biggest things that I wish would change. And here's a little funny discussion about the banh mi sandwich right there with the camera on him now. Not the guy holding the sandwich, but the other. That's the great Chris Nelson, the maker of the masks that we enjoyed throughout the David Gordon Green trilogy, which no matter what you say about the franchise, you got to love the masks. Got to love the masks. I've never had a banh mi sandwich, though, either, to be honest. But this movie kind of made me want to try one out. I never got around to it, but it could happen in the near future. It very well could. Got him a peanut butter and jelly banh mi sandwich. Look at his lunch. I wonder if any of this was improvised. That is not homemade at all. That 100% looks like a cosmic brownie. So many possibilities exist, Sartain says. If you know what timestamp I'm at, guys, I'm scared to. Well, I can't pull the menu up, but where I'm at is not Lori. Allison's telling him that he said one word. She's telling him to stop the car, and he just slammed on the brakes and stopped the car if he wanted to sync up. Now we're back on the shot of Chris Nelson eating out of a spoon. I dropped the controller and mine paused for like a split second, so I don't know if it threw you guys off or not. And then once he says Judith, this is when we start getting activity from Michael, which kind of references back to Halloween 4 when you think about it, because when they started talking about his niece, then he woke up. How did he have the mask on so quick, though? Like, when did the mask get on him? It's just the way they edited that. It was like the mask was instantly on him. And here come the cops. They're like, well, who the fuck is this? Because that's Hawkins' cop car. That's right. I like how Michael just kicks through the door and then gets out here. And this is what he says. He said, you put my mask on your head? He said, I'm going to fucking smash your head. Look at this ooey gooey kill right here. Michael just looking down at Sartain. Smart move by Allison. Get the fuck out of there and just run the fuck away. Look. Sartain looking up at Michael. I love the red lighting in the scene. And that's kind of a callback to the opening with the say something. And then he mushes that shit like a damn pumpkin, man. Got brain matter everywhere. And Michael's angry now. One stomp, he smashes his head. I love that shot too. You get the blue and the red lights mixed in and the head tilt. You get the classic head tilt right there from James Jude Courtney. Hawkins ain't there, man. Hawkins is on the side of the street back around the high school or somewhere. And obviously we don't get to see the kills here, but we get to see the aftermath of what happens to the two cops here, which is one of the more interesting Michael Myers art projects when we find it. I like it a lot. It's like a human jack-o'-lantern head. We'll get to that here momentarily. Right now we get to see Laurie preparing the fortress right here for this final showdown. Gosh, I love this final showdown, guys. We're about to finally get to it. Been hyping it up all movie, talking about how much I love the third act of this movie and how it made it, really hit home. and make it so rewatchable just because it's a great showdown between Michael and Laurie. And did you notice right there in the corner of the room that painting, that picture? That's the same one that Laurie had on her wall in Halloween 1. Go back and watch. It's the one that says like James Ensor or something on it. They even had that sit in the background. Little details like that even were touched on in this one. So I don't think she would have a model of the Myers house in her house either. I mean, I think you kind of got to have that to just like have a shot. We got to have some type of shot of the Myers house, but I don't know if Laurie would have that or not. It's a little bit of a stretch for me on that one, I think. All right, guys. As Allison runs through the woods and we get into our final act, hate to do it, but I got to take a quick bathroom break. Almost made it to the end, but I don't know if I can make it the rest of the time, and I don't want to run away when shit's really heating up. So I'm going to be back in like 30 seconds. Apologies for the 30 seconds of silence here in the commentary, guys. All right, guys, back like I never left. I'm sure you guys heard that noise as I got up. I kicked the damn controller down again. So that was an issue. Pretty sure that I didn't pause it, but if I did pause for a second, you need to link back up. Laurie just put the thing on the door, and it's about to be the scene here through the front door. She just told Karen, "Go, baby, go," to get downstairs. I'm such a damn klutz. Can't believe I kicked the controller down. Made it through all these October Horror Onslaught commentaries with no issues, and then in this one, I start fucking everything up, and I apologize. But she just opened the door to the thing, and she's going down the steps right now. Karen went down the steps just now and is closing the thing now. If you want to sync up, and now here comes Laurie back to the door, and we're about to have this badass scene where she fucking shoots his damn fingers off. I thought Laurie was a good goner in this scene, though. Oh, Michael got a hold of her. Once he had two hands on her, I was like, yeah, she's done for. That was a nice little jump scare, though, the first time you saw it. You wasn't expecting him to just burst his hands through there. It's a nice move. Nice touch by the filmmakers and by James Jude Courtney killing it here. And how about Jamie Lee, man? I mean, some of these stunts, you can tell that's actually her. Watch, she's like, "Oh, you're gonna try and hold the gun? That's fine. I'm just gonna blow your damn fingers off." And we end up with a three-fingered left-handed Michael Myers, or three fingers on the left hand Michael Myers, throughout the trilogy here, David Gordon Green trilogy. But man, seeing this in the theaters and thinking that this might be the only one they would do, I was like, "Damn, what an ending!" Allison still hasn't made her way there yet. But also, I think it's crazy that she was able to run through the woods and make her way to Laurie's house. But I guess, I mean, maybe she'd been there a lot. Maybe it's, the Haddonfield, the same setup. She's been in that town her whole life. So maybe she knew, oh, these are the woods right beside my grandma's house. I can run through there and get to them. Because to go to grandma's house, it's over the river and through the woods. Maybe that's what they were trying to make a little tongue-in-cheek nod to, that she ran through the woods to her grandma's house. Uh-oh, Karen's scared. He's in the house, dripping blood from his fingers that got shot off. Look at those. Look at the two-fingered Michael. I thought he had three. I guess he doesn't. It's only two. Uh-oh. Hope my camera battery doesn't die. If it comes up on screen and says webcam utility or whatever, know my camera battery died. And I'm sure I'll tell you guys. You'll still be able to hear me on the mic if it happens. But I got another one ready just in case. But we're gonna be pushing it. We're pushing it close. All right. The tensity is rising. The tensity in the scene is rising. Damn, could you imagine like the anticipation and shit that you would feel if you were Karen, just having to sit down there by yourself, not knowing what's happening above you? Like, is he gonna kill her and then he's gonna come find me? Like, what's gonna happen? That would almost be worse than having to be in the fight. But you also know your mom's a badass. She's been training for this for her whole life. Of course, she's going to check the closet first because that's where she hid in 78. I like the way that this is kind of flipped too, because always in slashers, like you get to the third act and it's the final girl or final character, which usually, obviously most of the time, final girl is like hiding around somewhere and the killer's stalking them, trying to kill them. And here we kind of get the reverse to open the third act, like the final showdown in this movie is Laurie's actually like the one looking for him. And here's where it begins, guys. The battle and also all the amazing callbacks to Halloween 78. But it's also so smart how she does this. Like, and this is why I just love her character in this movie. She has it set up to where she goes in, clears each room, makes sure he's not in there, and then boom, shuts it down and stuff. Says like he can't sneak into another room behind me. I've cleared every round and I'm eliminating where he can be and shit. That's how far ahead she thought in planning this shit out, man. I mean, 40 years, I guess you would think of every little angle. And it definitely seems like she did with the way that she's characterized in this movie. Oh, she ran into the mannequin. She knows she's there. I don't know why they're like doing these intense, scary notes with like showing these shots of the mannequins and the gunshots, and then it's like it terrified her. Like, why would that? I don't understand. It's not really scary. They're just mannequins that people have practiced shooting on. Like, doesn't that that's your grandma's and you're there? You made it to her house. All right, Lori, going up the steps. Oh shit! It's like, okay, he's not there. Get in that room. Let's move on. Dude, the tense feeling that you had the first time you saw this movie, not knowing when he was going to pop out, from which corner he was going to pop out, what room was she going to burst into and find him, how was it going to play out. Did a great build up, man. They kept you, they just kept building that tension through here for a while, which was great. Oh, the blood drips gave it away. But also, this right here itself is a callback to Halloween H2O. Luckily, I just watched H2O to be able to notice it, but Lori was bleeding in H2O and made it look like she was going in the closet, and because she knew that Michael would think that's where she would go to hide. Uh, but instead, she was somewhere else and popped out like from behind him. And in this one, Michael made her think that he was going to be in that closet. Nice callback that I didn't realize was the callback to H2O. I didn't catch it until I just watched H2O. Little nod to the to the movie that came before and did this for the first time, was the first movie in the franchise really to kind of erase everything that came before. Well, I guess not the first. I guess technically Halloween 3 tried to go to different angles, so in a way that would kind of be the first. But Halloween H2O was the first one to kind of just straight up eliminate other movies that came before and say, no, we're after Halloween 2. Much like this one here came after Halloween 1 and said, in this universe that we're making this movie and none of the others 2, 4, 5, and 6 existed. Or H2O or Resurrection, of course. It's Halloween, and then 40 Years of Nothing, and then this. All right, here we go. Here he comes. I'm going to choke you to death with your own shotgun. She's about to rip his eyeballs out. Look, she got like a hunting knife. It's like a gut her like a fish. Or gut him like a fish. Oh. Damn, she bit him. She's like, I'll do whatever. I don't give a fuck. I wasn't expecting this, but immediately when she fell, and then I was in the theater and they showed a shot of him walking out, and I was like, oh man, if they show her and she's gone, oh dude, that's going to be crazy. And that's exactly where they go here momentarily. Allison comes in. We hear a shot of Michael here and her. Well, what do you do if you're Karen? She probably can't hear. And then he looks back. And boom, our call back to the original when he was gone, when Loomis looked over the ledge at him. Several of those callbacks coming up here in this final scene, which I love. Oh, so she could hear her. So she can kind of hear, you can hear a little bit when you're down there then. But this time you done fucked it up because now he's going to know that you're under there. He's like, all right, I know I heard these motherfuckers. I know they're somewhere. One of the best shots in the original 78 is called back to here, which I think the shot is amazing, but they throw a line of dialogue in that I think a lot of people found was cringe. And I think you just take out the line of dialogue, use the shot, and the moment's a lot better. But I still love it because I love the callback. Coming up here just a second. Which you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys are fans of the Halloween movies. If you're watching this, I'm sure a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about already. But it's coming up here. Michael scanning around. Then he figures it out. I don't know how he figures it out that that's there. I guess maybe he just heard like the motors of like something closing, and he's like, well, it couldn't really be anything else, but this island might have some shit underneath it. About to have Karen's redeeming moment in this movie because I know a lot of people didn't like her character, but then they're like, oh, she has this badass moment at the end, which is awesome. One of the coolest moments of this movie. See her seeing her gun there. And it's crazy though, because what she thought was such a bad thing when she was growing up actually like prepared her for what she would need when she was older. Isn't it ironic? Alanis Morissette voice. Watch how she sets it up. How she sets it up. It's great. Because he's not there, and she's like, I can get him to come over here if he knows I'm not gonna do it. Like if he thinks I'm not gonna be able to do it. So slick right here. I can't do it. Oh my god. Boom. The way the music right there swells and then stops when she says gotcha, perfect accent. Here it is. Like you could just have her face pop up in the dark there just as the homage to the shot to, the original, and then have her pop out and attack him. You don't need that Happy Halloween Michael line, man. You really don't. You really don't. Oh, yeah, I got the classic sit up there. Had to get it. And one last grab. Yep, one last scare. Gotta grab her ankle. She grabs the knife, man. She helps out. This is when we first learned that Allison's gonna be a strong ass character. That's one character that was good pretty much throughout the whole trilogy here, is Allison. But also, it's kinda like she gets to have, like, the similar moment that Lori did, because at the end, she's holding the knife and she's kinda traumatized, thinking about this is a knife that killed her friends, kinda like Lori when she had to finally grab the knife in Halloween '78, and then she drops it, traumatized because of the same reason when she starts thinking about it. What's his name from, Star Wars? "It's a trap!" As she says there. Which when I saw this movie, I was like, "Oh, shit, okay." And then, like, when you leave the theater, you're like, "There's no way, like, they didn't leave him a window out." Like, I think that's it. I don't think they're gonna make any more. Of course, that wouldn't be the case, but crazy ass ending if so. You know, I didn't like the fact of like that because like I wanted more. I'm like, oh man, we need to bring it back somehow because this one was so good. And I'm glad they found a way to do that because I really enjoy Halloween Kills as well, even though I know a lot of people don't. I think for the most people, like the majority of people, this is probably the best of the trilogy. It's a toss up between it and Kills for me, but it's definitely they both shit on Halloween Ends by far. But I think for most people, this is their best of the trilogy. Was their original entry here, the David Gordon Green and Danny McBride brought right here with this, and what an ending, man! What an ending! Explosive ending, pun intended there. Uh, they trap him and they start to burn it. And how I think it's like super fitting right there. That shot of the Myers house burns. Like she had the maybe that's why she had the Myers house because she's like, if I ever get the chance to do this shit where I get to burn this motherfucker down with Myers and with Michael inside, I'm gonna have this incinerator going directly into the Myers house. So I'm burning that shit down too. Maybe that's like literally the sole reason, which is like just in case this ever happens. And then, of course, this also kind of, in a ways, like a lot of ways, callbacks to Halloween 4, when at the end of that movie, Rachel and Jamie end up in the back of a truck riding off and then kill Michael in that truck. But we also see some like shots of the house right here. It's like a callback to '78 where we see the shots of the house at the end. But I think a lot of us knew because one thing coming up in the credits is you hear the breathing. So they're like, oh, they left it open. They left it open. But also, like when they show the shots of the house at the end, you don't even see Michael in there at that point. So it's like, where did he go? And then you start to realize, oh, he probably locked in that gun cabinet. But there it is, guys. Halloween 2018, 40 years later, you know, watched H2 earlier, then watched 2018. For me, 2018 is the one I prefer. Just a lot more awesome overall, although both portray a really good Laurie Strode. I prefer Halloween 2018. I think it's a really good movie. Does it have its issues? Yeah, but we touched on them there throughout the commentary, you know. But for me, it's just kind of little things they could have changed, made it a little bit better. But I think overall, it's one of the better movies in the franchise and was a great return for the franchise that I wish they would have maintained throughout the trilogy, especially when we get to the end there at Halloween Ends. But hey, maybe we'll talk more about that, talk more about Halloween Kills one day. But for now, guys, I've really enjoyed the October Horror Onslaught. Maybe next October we'll get to even make it a bit more of an onslaught. But hey, we've got several Halloween commentaries now up on the channel here that we've done throughout the October Horror Onslaught. I've enjoyed doing them with you guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed taking them in, and hopefully on Halloween, if you're watching some Halloween movies, you can take in some of them with the commentary here from JC's Pop Culture. As now also this one releasing on Halloween Day along with the H2O commentary. Also have Halloween and Halloween 4 here on the channel for the October Horror Onslaught. But I've enjoyed them, man. Happy Halloween to all of you guys out there here in 2024 October Horror Onslaught. Appreciate you guys tuning in to some of these commentaries here on JC's Pop Culture. Hit the like button before you head out if you tune into the video version on YouTube. If you listen on the audio side, appreciate that as well. Available on all podcast platforms. Leave us a rating there. That helps, preferably a 5-star one if you would. And subscribe here for future Halloween movie coverage, future horror movie coverage, superhero movies, comedy movies, and of course the College Football 25 video game as well. As always, I appreciate you tuning into this one, and I'll catch you on the next one.